Do you consider yourself talented? What is talent? Today we're going to talk about the essence of talent, something I like to call D.A.P. Check it out.
Donkey Job Projects!
Alright, so recently, in the last couple days, there has been, everybody's doing this Veda thing, and obviously I'm taking part in it as well. And one of the things with Veda, with especially SSS Veda, which is Savvy Sexually Social, is that they have like a prompt for what to talk about if you can't think of what you want to, do for your videos. If you don't know what Veda is, it's video or vlog every day in April. They also do it in August. So one of the prompts though kind of got me thinking about this content I've done before, but on different channels. I did it on my podcast, things like that. I've never done it on this channel though, and I've always meant to, which is this idea of like, what exactly is like the essence of talent, and it's been kind of debated. Some people think different ways, about what talent actually is, and some people think that they can never do certain things because they're not talented. And to me, a lot of the ways people think about talent, I think, is a little bit, they think almost mythical about it. Like it's just not necessarily the truth, See, like right now I'm kind of messing some things up, but you can't really tell, probably because you don't know exactly how this character is designed, but I can see I'm messing things up, but I can fix it, But so anyways, the thing that I'm thinking is, talent is kind of like, it's a funny thing, like if you mention to an artist, oh, you're talented, I'd never be able to do that. You'd be surprised that a lot of artists, might actually be like almost cringe at something like that. Like we understand, that it's you mean it as a compliment, and it's a nice thing to say and everything, and that's all cool, but to us, it's like, something that we've worked our whole lives to get to a certain point artistically. I mean, is that talent? Like, or is that a skill you've attained, by practice? So, and, if you look at a lot of artists' art, or musicians or whoever, the stuff they've created, when they first started doing it, you're going to see that it might be a lot more comparable to the art you can make if you don't consider yourself an artist than you would expect. I have people who have dabbled in art and say, oh, I'm not like a great artist, and I look at what they did and I'm like, this stuff shows a lot of potential, man. There's a lot of cool stuff, I think you're just as good as me. You just need to continue to practice, So that's really what it is. But so I came up with this kind of way of thinking about it though a while back. You guys have seen, if you've been watching my YouTube channel lately, you've seen me talk about some hip-hop topics and things like that, and you've heard that I was kind of pretty active in trying to like become a rapper, and kind of make it in that realm of creativity. And I did that for a lot of my life, and I spent a lot of time writing a lot of lyrics, making songs, making beats, things like that. And one of the things within that, especially in the 90s, that kind of hip-hop culture is people talk about getting daps. Like it's a form of respect. It's when people, the fist bump thing, when you give somebody a pound. That's another way of saying it, and one way of saying it is getting daps. And so, it's just a way of showing respect. Oh, you're dope, you got skills, stuff like that. So, that's kind of how it works. And so that's just a term. It's called, giving somebody daps. And so I thought, let me break that down, into kind of a little phrase, because, if you have talent, you get daps. So how do you get daps? You have to, adhere to what the essence of talent is and what it takes to get to the point where people like your stuff enough to where, they respect it and enjoy it and want to be a part of it, maybe even buy the things you create and stuff like that. So how do you get daps though? How do you how do you get there? If you're not so good, then it's going to be harder. Well, to me, talent breaks down to this: DAP, desire, appreciation, and play. So the first one, desire, a lot of people say they can't draw, and I think that a big part of why they can't draw is because they don't really desire to do it that much, If you do desire to do it, you'll practice it and you'll get good at it. That's how I look at it, at least. I have spent a lot of time in my life drawing, and I still have a long way to go. But in my opinion, I can do anything any other artist can do. It just, am I willing to discipline myself to practice, to the point where I can do it as good as them? That's the question. It's a hard question to answer. A lot of people, through their actions answer that with no. Some people say yes, but they don't do the work, or they are trying to do the work and they're in the process, and every artist is at a different stage. So do you desire to make something? Have you seen something that you really like and you're like, yeah, I want to do that, I think I could do that, blah blah blah? And that brings us to the next part of DAP, which is appreciation. This one has to do with our taste, and there's other people have talked about this as well, and that's kind of how I kind of came to this, but I kind of put my own spin on it. Is basically we read a comic book or watch a movie or listen to some music that we really like, and we're like, that is so cool, I wish I could do that. The difference between the artist and the non-artist, in my opinion, is that one says, I wish I could do it, and that's as far as it goes, and the other says, I wish I could do it, and then they proceed to go try to do it. Neither one is better than the other. There's no you don't have to go and try to do that. You can, we all spend time doing the thing we want to do and or have to do, and we all have responsibilities. So, it is what it is, and we all prioritize differently. So you see that thing you appreciate, and there's nothing wrong with just enjoying it for what it is, and that's as far as it goes. But some people appreciate it so much that they want to take part in that kind of creation. And that's what, like I said, that's an artist to me. That's what it is, So, you desire to do something, and then you find things that you really like, which is usually probably what sparked the desire in the first place. And so your tastes get more and more refined as you go. Sometimes you like certain things, and then you come across other things, and you're like, oh, I like this even better, or I like this as well, and you start, this is kind of how style is born. You start getting into all kinds of different versions of whatever it is that you like, and you start to kind of imitate some of that stuff, at least to practice. And then you get better, and it turns into kind of your own style, when it's all kind of put together. So, that actually brings me to the third point, which is play. So you desire to do something, your appreciation grows and changes over time, and that inspires you to continue to practice. So you can use the words practice and play interchangeably. In my opinion, I like to use the word play more often than not, because to me the word practice sometimes makes me feel like something I don't want to do. And play sounds more fun. It's as simple as that. So yeah, it's then how much time are you going to spend, playing with this or practicing it, and that's what makes you a better artist. That's what brings your skill up. That's what you spend the most time on, or you should. I mean, sometimes we spend too much time on the appreciation side of things and procrastinate and never actually spend time on the practice or the play. Also just creating projects and stuff, it's all part of it. So those are like the things, desire, appreciation, and play. And if you have those three things combined, you might be known as somebody who has talent eventually. But it's not something you're born with, I mean, there may be I do feel like there is, a little something to that, you're born with, you might be born with, or it might be circumstances or whatever that kind of brings you to be more attracted to a certain type of personality that wants to create things in an artistic way. So you might be born more with a desire than somebody else. Also, it just might come easier to you, and there's something to be said for that, even amongst artists. For some people it just comes easier, but it's not like they don't have to practice too. They have to spend a lot of time honing that, and I've seen people with what might be thought of as natural talent before, and they don't really get anywhere with what they do because they don't put in the work. They just kind of are good at it, but they don't really even have the desire. So it's like, there you go again with the D.A.P. You can have the appreciation and you can even be really good at playing with it, but if you don't want to spend the time playing with it, if you don't want to spend the time to practice, then you don't actually have the desire. And so if you don't have the desire, then you don't, you could still say the person has talent, I guess, but you're not going to get the D.A.Ps. You're not going to get the respect for doing the work. So you need all three of those. And to me, there's a lot more to talent. Jake Parker is really an awesome artist, and he does videos on YouTube as well, and he's got a video which I'll link to in the description where he talks about talent and what it is, and he kind of says what I said, but then he goes into a lot more depth with some things that I think is really interesting. So I definitely, if you want to look further into this topic, I would definitely recommend you go check that out for sure. Yeah, but also, another thing that people think about when they think about talent is often, they're like, people think about like a musician or an artist, when you think about talent, but that's not the only things you can be talented in. There's so many things that my wife is talented in that I suck at, and they don't necessarily have anything to do with art or anything like that. You know, so like, and like that kind of thing is like organizational skills. I feel like people in the jobs that I've made my living in are way more talented at those jobs than I am. You know, I go in there and I do my best. You know, I don't slouch or whatever. I just try to, you know, do the work I'm supposed to do. To me, you know, it's important to do that. You know, I work as unto the Lord. That's what I believe. So I try to do a really good job, but it doesn't come as easy for me. I'm really not good at, and you'd think like what I do is like, you know, warehouse work and stuff, and I do deliveries and heavy lifting and, you know, boring stuff. But it literally is not exciting in the least to me. But for some people, they, you know, I don't think anybody necessarily, well, actually I have seen a few people who actually kind of love that kind of work, but a lot of people, most people don't really love that kind of work, but they're better at doing that kind of work, you know. They can do it faster. I am not fast. That's one of my biggest things, you know, that I've gotten complaints. You know, you never see anybody accusing me of being too fast. It's usually the other way around. But I try to do my best, and I try to keep up with everybody the best I can. But when it really comes down to it, you know, when I'm at my fastest and when I'm at my most energetic, that's some other people's like normal way of just living and doing things, you know. So, you know, I don't have that talent, you know, that's it, and it's important to have that, I mean, in certain instances. So, you know, there is something to be said, you know, for kind of a natural ability. So, you know, if you do have some kind of natural ability in something else, and whatever it is, you know, I think that you should pursue it more seriously than just, oh, that's something I do on the side, you know. Well, I guess I shouldn't say you should, you know, you can, is I guess the point. For me, I am taking it as you should, like I want to, because to me it makes sense, you know. I'm gonna be able to, you know, best help the world, you know, and best affect the world if I do what I'm, you know, good at. So now we're getting into other territory and stuff, but you know, hopefully you get my point. You know, if you want to get the DAPs, if you want to get, you know, the respect from people, and you want to hone your talent, desire, appreciation, and play have to be a big factor. So yeah. So hopefully that was helpful to you. If that was, you know, you get the DAPs. And you know, yeah, I think it's awesome. I think we all have something to give to this world. As I always say, you know, I feel like I've been created to be creative, and so have you. So let's DAP it out. Let's make it happen. Much respect, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this stuff and you'd like more, please subscribe. Please comment and like below. And I love, you know, to build with the community. So if you comment, I will definitely comment back. And yeah, thank you for watching. You guys are awesome, and I'll talk to you on the next video. Peace out.